Get your boy Corey here, aka Crasher, bring you guys a new exciting video, and ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you guys back to our next installment of our competitive guides for Pokemon Sword and Shield. In this episode, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be going over Dragapult. I am so bloody excited for this Pokemon in particular. This Pokemon is the pseudo-legendary of Generation 8. It's a freaking draconic fighter jet Pokemon. It's so bloody cool. But looks aside, that's not the only thing that's cool about it. There's a lot to get into, so if you guys enjoy the video, hit the like button, hit the sub button, smash it up in the comments down below. Let's get to it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so when it comes to Dragapult, it shares a very, very interesting typing, that of Dragon and Ghost. Hello, Giratina. Haven't seen a typing like that since you showed up on the scene. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we take a look at this glorious typing right here. We can see right from the get-go, you are immune to fighting and normal, which is sweet, baby! And then we take a look at the resistances. You have bug, electric, fire, grass, poison, and water, which are all very awesome. However, ladies and gentlemen, what isn't awesome is the fact that you are weak to the likes of Dark, Dragon, Fairy, Ghost, and Ice, all of which admittedly are very common offensive typings in the metagame. However, ladies and gentlemen, that aside, we have ourselves three amazing abilities. The first of which is known as Clear Body, which means that your stats cannot be lowered in any way, shape, and form by the opponent. We take a look at the next ability is Cursed Body. So this is an ability that when an opponent attacks you, there is a 30% chance that that move is going to be disabled. So that right there could be some shenanigans if you are feeling very lucky. However, ladies and gentlemen, its last ability, the best ability in my opinion out of the three, is known as Infiltrator, which basically gives the big FU to the likes of Light Screen and Reflect, as well as Substitute, because the moves go right through all of that as if they didn't even exist. So go ahead, set up your screens. Go ahead, set up your substitutes. This Pokemon is going to shit all over that, you know what I mean? But ladies and gentlemen, it gets even better because we take a look. Take a look at the stats, man. Oh, man. These are awesome. So, taking a look, we ourselves, base 88 on the HP, followed with 120 attack, 75 in both the defense and special defense, 100 on the special attack, and woo! 142 on the speed. Hot damn! You see what I mean, ladies and gentlemen? You see how awesome Dragapult is already? And those are just the basics. Just wait until we get into the movesets that you can use for Dragapult, and there is a lot of stuff to cover, you know what I mean? But with all that being said, we can see that clearly its most prominent stat is its base 142 speed, which means that unless you are a Scarf or a boosted Pokemon, you're not going to be able to really outspeed this thing unless you're like Zacian or something like that. But even still, this is the fastest non-legendary Pokemon in Generation 8, which is ridiculous. And then the fact also remains that is also really awesome. It has base 120 attack and 100 special attack. So this Pokemon has amazing capabilities to go physical, special, mixed, etc. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the sets that you can use for Dragapult. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so the first set that I have for you is going to be a setup sweeping set with Dragapult. As for the item of choice, we are going to go with a Life Orb. In my opinion, this is the best item of choice, and here's why. This will allow for you to do 30% more damage with your attacks at the cost of 10% of your health, and given the fact that Dragapult is somewhat of a glass cannon, I feel that this right here is a really solid item of choice. As for its ability, I'm just going to say for the record, you're almost always going to want to go with Infiltrator here for Dragapult, as the likes of screens and substitutes are generally very annoying, but they're nothing with Dragapult on the field with Infiltrator, you know what I'm saying? So, if you want to use a good ability on Dragapult, just go with Infiltrator. I'm just letting you know, just go with Infiltrator. It's really solid. As for its moveset, the first move that we're going to be utilizing is known as Dragon Dance. It's going to boost your attack and your speed by 1 stage. Pretty self-explanatory. Next up here, we have ourselves Dragon Darts, which is a very unique move, and the signature move of Dragapult. It's a base 50 power Dragon-type move that hits twice. Now, in doubles battles, this will actually hit both targets once, which is actually really freaking interesting and kind of cool, actually. But this right here is really good in singles as well, as it is a 2-hit attack. So, Focus Sashes, bye-bye. You know what I'm saying? Next up here, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves Phantom Force. Now, unfortunately, Phantom Force is the best Ghost-type attack that Dragapult has access to. It doesn't get access to the likes of Shadow Claw or anything like that. What Phantom Force does is it is a base 90 power Ghost-type move, which is respectable, and it's a 2-turn move. You disappear on the first turn and you hit on the second, and as an additional bonus, it actually breaks through protection. So there's no way you can be protected against the likes of Phantom Force unless you're like a normal type Pokemon that's immune to ghost type attacks. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves Sucker Punch, which is a pretty interesting move to utilize on something like Dragapult because of the fact that this Pokemon is naturally fast to begin with. You're probably thinking, well, why not go for another move? Why go for something like Sucker Punch, given the fact that this Pokemon is really fast? And here's why. So, as an example, say if you were to face off against rival Dragapult that happened to speed tie or outspeed you, you go for the priority Sucker Punch should they go for an attacking move. You have a good chance of taking it out, especially if you have boosts accumulated under your belt. This is a respectable base 70 power dark type move that is priority unless the opponent doesn't go for an offensive move. So do keep that in mind. And last but not least, guys, let's go over the EVs and the nature. Now, the nature right here, it really is up to you. You can go for either Adamant or Jolly if you want. If we go for Adamant here, it's going to give you a little bit more of a buff in your attack, whereas something like Jolly is going to give you more of a buff in your speed. So it really is up to you. Do you want to have more natural speed or do you want to have more natural attack? It really is up to you, but either way, for the EVs, we're going to go 252 EVs into the attack and 252 EVs into the speed with 4 on special defense. Pretty self-explanatory and pretty straightforward for a physical setup sweeper. So next up, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be taking Dragapult and making it an all-out attacker and a really effective scout. So, as for the item of choice, we have ourselves a Choice Band here. Now, this right here, it can be interchangeable. There are a couple of other options to utilize when it comes to the item of choice for a set in particular, like this one here. However, I want to go for Choice Band here because this allows for you to have an attack boost of 1 stage, but you are locked into 1 attack until you switch out. Now, you can go for something like Choice Scarf, which does similar with Choice Band, but in this situation here, it's going to be giving you a 50% boost in your speed, but locking you into 1 attack until you switch out. So if you want to be crazy fast on the field, then you can go for Choice Scarf if you want, but I really and honestly think that would be a bit overkill in terms of speed. You want to go for more power so that you can pack more of a punch in battle, so go for something like Choice Band in my honest opinion. As for the ability, once again, we should go for Infiltrator. Should kind of go without saying, it's the superior ability here. Now, as for the attacks, we have ourselves Dragon Darts here, which is a very reliable attack, and it amounts to base 100 power when you hit your opponent twice. Now, I will also point this out, it does get access to Outrage, ladies and gentlemen, which is a base 128 power Dragon-type move that lasts 2 to 3 turns. However, you will be confused afterwards when you snap out of it. So, if you don't like the idea of being locked into the likes of Outrage and you want to switch out after 1 attack, then you could go for something like Dragon Darts here, which is going to be a better reliable move in my opinion. And that is because of the fact there's no drawbacks as opposed to something like Outrage, where although it's base 20 higher in terms of the power of the move, you are going to end up being confused after you snap out of it. So it really is up to you. You know, if you prefer more power, you can go for something like Outrage, but if you want more reliability, then you can go for something like Dragon Darts. Now, its second move is going to be Phantom Force, as you want to have good Ghost-type stab, and again, it is the best Ghost-type move that Dragapult has from a physical spectrum. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, this move right here is going to be milk, okay? I'm talking just pure muscle milk. This is protein-packed milk, baby. We have ourselves U-turn here, which is a respectable base 70 power bug-type move that allows for you to switch out after you attack your opponent. This right here is what's going to make this Pokemon truly shine as an offensive scout-like Pokemon. Now, this right here is a must on this set right here. Don't even bother trying to switch out anything else for U-turn. Just go for U-turn if you are in doubt. Go for U-turn, alright? Last but not least, we have ourselves Sucker Punch, which is a base 70 power Dark-type move that is of priority depending on the circumstances. If your opponent goes for an offensive move, then Sucker Punch will work and outpace them and attack. However, it will fail if your opponent does not go for an offensive move. Now, as for the EVs and the nature, we're going to go for Jolly right here because you want to have as much natural speed as possible given the fact that we are utilizing a choice band, and the investment is the same as the first set here with max attack, max speed, and 4 into special defense. So the next set I have for you is going to be an all-out offensive choice spec set. Oh yeah. Here comes the versatility I was bragging about earlier, baby. Woo! Alright, so what we got going on here for the item of choice is known as Choice Specs, which allows for you to have a 50% boost in your special attack, but you are locked into the first move that you execute until you switch out. Once again, should kind of go without saying, as for the ability, it's going to be Infiltrator. The first move of choice is going to be a Draco to the Meteor, baby. It's a special base 130 Dragon-type move. And, however, I will say that you have the risk of lowering your special attack by 2 stages every single time you use Draco Meteor. So, if you're going to come in and utilize Draco Meteor, make sure it means something, okay? Make sure you leave a nasty, nasty dent in your opponent's HP. However, Draco Meteor is not the only move that I can make use of. You know that, right? Because next up here, we have ourselves one of the best Ghost-type moves in the game, baby! At least from a special standpoint, known as Shadow Ball. A respectable base 80 power move with a 20% chance to lower the target's special defense by 1 stage. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves the big FU to Ferrothorn because say hello to Fire Blast. A really, really solid special fire-type move with base 110 power with a 10% chance to burn the target. So that 10% burn chance is just that extra crispy bit of skin on your KFC chicken. You know what I'm saying? So lastly, guys, we're going to go for U-turn. I know it's a physical move and it doesn't benefit from choice specs here. But here's the thing, alright, is that you also want to maintain the fact that this Pokemon makes a damn good scout. So, if you are faced off in a very unfavorable situation, you just simply U-turn on out. And no harm will come to your Dragapult, at least for that moment. Now, lastly, guys, as for the EVs and the nature, we're going to go all out with a timid nature, all out, you know what I'm saying? Get that natural speed up in this, and we're going to be utilizing the EVs in special attack and the speed with 2v2 EVs apiece and 4 into special defense. Pretty self-explanatory when it comes to the function of this sort of set. Alright, ladies and gents, the next set that I have for you guys might be a little bit of a weird set here, but just hear me out, alright? Because I kind of want to showcase the fact that this Pokemon has interesting moves, and here's the thing, alright? We actually have ourselves a dual screen Dragapult set here, which could make for some shenanigans. I don't know, but let's take a look here. So, the item Light Clay allows for you to boost the duration of Aurora Veil, Light Screen, or Reflect for 8 turns. Which is awesome, because instead of it lasting 5 turns, with Light Clay, it's going to last 8 turns, baby. That's just going to be absolutely awesome. As for the ability, once again, you can go for something like Infiltrator. However, given the fact that you're not meant to be an offensive juggernaut, but more or less meant to be a supportive Pokemon in your team, as well as be a really good scout, which I'll get to in a second, you can go for something like Clear Body or Curse Body. In fact, I would actually recommend Curse Body here, because if you are hit with an attack, there is a 30% chance that the move is going to get disabled, which could actually make for a very frustrating time for a Pokemon that is a mono attacker or a choice locked attacker. So you go for something like Curse Body if you want here in this situation, if Infiltrator does not suit your fancy. Now, we get to the moveset here. We have ourselves Light Screen here, which is going to reduce the damage of special type attacks by cutting them right in half, okay? So, you're only taking half damage from special attacks for 5 turns, but in the case of Light Clay, you're going to be taking that for 8 turns, which is absolutely amazing. And we have ourselves Reflect, which does similar to Light Screen, but for physical attacks, cutting the damage in half. And with Light Clay, it's going to last 8 turns. We have ourselves Dragon Darts here, as it's a pretty reliable Dragon-type stab move that hits twice in a single turn. And last but not least, guys, we have ourselves a U-Turn here, which allows for you to be a really good scout and also cause some chip damage to your opponent. And as for the EV spread right here, I decided to invest fully in its HP and its speed with 2v2 EVs apiece with 4 remaining into attack. And we're going to be going with a Jolly Nature here because you want to be as fast as possible here in this situation. Be as fast as possible, set up your screens as fast as possible, and set up your possible win condition for your entire team. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so this next set here is kind of an interesting approach when it comes to the use of Dragapult here. The main theme of this set is Substitute and Disable, so let's see the details here. So, for the item of choice, we are going to go with Leftovers because this allows for you to restore 1/16 of your health at the end of every turn. As for the ability, we're going to stick with Infiltrator here because this allows for you to have the annoying ability to bypass opponents' substitutes as well as screens, especially if said Pokemon is very dependent on those sort of moves, like Substitute and the screens. That's just really, really awesome to have in general. So, as for the first move right here, kind of funny how I mentioned Substitute and yet that's its first move. So, the reason for Substitute is to not only allow for you to take 25% of your health and create a substitute to protect you from the likes of status moves as well as being tricked a choiced item, which would indeed cripple the set. You would actually be able to effectively scout out your opponent's attacks. And this especially goes well with Disable here. So that means that for 4 turns, this disables the target's last move used, which is going to completely screw choiced attackers. So you go for a substitute, you scout out an attack, and you click Disable the next turn, and that's when you let the shenanigans begin. Now, we have ourselves Will-O-Wisp here as a way to cripple physical attackers and just cripple Pokemon even further, alright? And then with that, you have Hex, which is initially a base 65 power ghost type move that will double in power once the opponent is statused with a condition, and that's just going to be absolutely amazing. Like, these two moves go together like peanut butter and jelly, and these two moves go together like salt and vinegar chips, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, as for the EV spread right here, we have ourselves the EV spread that is very, very specific for this sort of set. Okay, so this EV spread is very specific, so try to follow me on this one here. So we have ourselves 96 on the HP and 16 on the defense. This is so that your substitutes will always be able to survive a burned Corviknight's Brave Bird, which is just going to be really, really awesome. We have ourselves 184 into the special attack, so that we have a respectable amount of special attack to fire off powerful Hex's attacks, you know? And we have ourselves 212 on the speed, so that way you're hitting 410 speed, and this will always allow for you to outpace Jolly, Choice Scarf, Dracovish. And that is with a timid nature, and that right there is very, very specific for a tailor-made set like this. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so now let's take a look at some notable moves that Dragapult possesses. We have ourselves access to Agility, which in my opinion is just straight up overkill for something as speedy as Dragapult. But I will say this is a very solid move, as this allows for you to boost your speed by 2 stages. And this actually pairs very well with the likes of Baton Pass, because not only does this allow for you to switch out, but you pass on stat changes to the Pokemon switching in. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves access to Scald, which is a very, very annoying water-type move. Base 80 power, it's special, and it has a 30% chance to burn the target. And as a nifty little bonus, should you be frozen, you get thawed out. And we also have ourselves Thunder Wave, which will allow for you to paralyze your opponent. And we also have ourselves access to the likes of Thunder, which is a very, very powerful base 110 special electric type move with a 30% chance to paralyze, and it can't miss and rain. And do note that part right there, because without rain, it has a shitty 70% accuracy. So if you're going to be running Thunder on Dragapult, I would highly recommend you run it on a rain sort of team. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves Thunderbolt here, which is a respectable base 90 power electric move with a 10% chance to paralyze, and this also snipes out flying type Pokemon as well that could try to plague your way in battle. Next up, we have ourselves Dragon Tail, which is a base 60 power move that forces the target to switch to a random ally, which could be used in conjunction with Hazard's stack. So do keep that in mind as well. And we also have ourselves access to Confuse Ray, which is going to confuse the target. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be a wrap up here for this video. There was a lot to go over here for Dragapult in general. So many sets it can run, you know what I'm saying? It's a damn good Pokemon to have on any competitive team. I'm just going to put that out there right now. It is very, very good, okay? So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Leave a like, subscribe, and most importantly, guys, smash it up in the comments down below, because I love, love, love hearing from you guys. Always have, always will. That ain't never gonna change, baby. Woo! So thank you guys so very much for watching. Have yourself a wonderful day or night, depending on your time zone. And I'll see you guys in the next one.